All right. Hey guys, I know they're going to get some people to jump on while we're talking. Some of you are going to be watching later on. You're going to catch up on what we did today a little later on. First things first, I want to thank City Limit Comics for jumping on my channel today, going live to do this show of mine, which is going to be, well, talking about his personal keys and what got him into collecting. So big thanks to him. If you guys haven't subscribed or followed his page on Instagram, please go and I want to say subscribe because I'm so used to talking
You know
about
what? Use it.
follow.
Subscribe. We like it. Subscribe to my damn Instagram
Subscribe,
channel.
yeah,
Let's do it.
subscribe. At some point he might even have a YouTube channel, and there you go. Subscribe, follow, do whatever, go check out everything he has on there, guys. He's a great guy. He's a great page. I've actually bought some books from him as well, which is fantastic. Having that said, we have Punisher XS. Hey, what's going on? Thank you for showing up. I do appreciate it. First things first, how's everything going with you during this whole, I guess, ordeal that we have going on?
It is terrible. Being locked up with two kids, I had to become a teacher. I couldn't go anywhere. I had to stop training. It was a nightmare. The whole thing was a complete nightmare. It still is a nightmare. I'm still not open. My jiu-jitsu school's still not open. I'm still going crazy. The kids are going stir crazy. I can't wait for things to go back to normal. Thank God for comic book reading. I've been doing a lot of comic reading and a lot of drawing. That's what I've been doing.
Hey, it's like there's like a win and lose in that scenario, and it's crazy because I mean it's definitely put a damper on a lot of things with a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people are struggling, whether it's with work or everything because of this whole situation. What up, Perry? Thanks for showing up, brother. Great show last night. If you guys haven't caught up on that show that I did with Perry Comics last night, go check it out. It's on my YouTube. Just Tariqan, and I was telling City Limits, I was mentioning to these guys that I'm horrible with the comments. So whenever I see one pop up, I have to do better with being like, "Hey, what's going on? What up, Rod?"
The comment section is tough. I remember when I interviewed Steve Borak, and people were just commenting questions. It's hard to keep up. They don't understand. They should try it. It is hard to keep up with.
The problem is that I get so caught up in that conversation that I'm having that I don't even notice the comments so backed up that I feel bad at that point. But I appreciate you guys showing up and watching, even if it's for 10 minutes. We appreciate it. But yeah, we're talking about COVID, how it's affecting everything. I feel like, I mean, just look at how everything got shut down as far as like all the cons,
Terrible.
Believe it or not, I've never been to a con myself.
And it's a great time.
And I was planning on going this year, in my state, and apparently I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. So,
that's probably done.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer, but I know the shops, I guess for pretty much everybody, comic book shops are pretty much open for the most part. Maybe some shops are doing more of the drop off and you can do pickups and stuff, but I know my shop, everybody's following the rules to make sure that you're wearing a mask and everything else, because I mean I feel like it's with everything that's been going on, you still need some sort of an outlet to kind of make you feel better, not to get so depressed, because I feel like it's been kind of like a crazy time. Have you been going to the shops yourself?
I've been back to my local comic book shop. Yeah, just wear a mask. 3 people inside max, because it's a small little shop. But yeah, of course, shops. I went to an outdoor restaurant the other day for the first time.
Nice.
Just to get out. Where are you, Sal? Where are you located?
I'm in Massachusetts. I'm in Boston.
Oh, sorry, you're right above me. You're not too far. I'm in New York. So
yeah. Well, you guys.
Thank God you're not in Florida.
I know. What's I think the ones who got hit hard. I mean, right now it's Florida,
Texas,
California, right?
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
And how's New York? Because I know you guys were having a tough time for a while, right?
Yeah, but our numbers are pretty low now. We've gotten it under control. We've been pretty obedient when it comes to the masks and everything like that. A lot of things have shut down. Governor Cuomo doesn't play games. He's just shutting everything down. We're probably going back. My kids are probably going back to school twice a week. next year.
Really?
So, yeah,
Oh, wow.
twice, and then learning from home, which is
It's
a nightmare because my son, who's in kindergarten last year, got absolutely screwed because kindergarten, that's when you're learning your foundations of reading, the sounds, like putting everything together. And he was like, I'm gonna have to get a tutor for reading because that's
right.
tough. That's a tough grade to miss, and he missed it. Thank God my daughter, girls are always smarter. Thank God my daughter, she's gone into third grade, but
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
good. She's good,
It,
but I feel bad for my son.
I feel bad for the kids because I mean, they're having a tough time because they can't go back to school. There's a lot of kids, especially the younger ones. I feel like they look forward to going to school. It's a
They
whole
do.
new experience.
Yes.
And even like the older ones, the ones that were graduating, they a lot of them couldn't do graduations and stuff, which sucks. I mean, I remember, even proms, they couldn't do prom.
No prom. Poor girls. I
know. I mean, I feel like the guys they look forward to it, but not as much as the girls.
Right,
And I'm sure there were talks. It was being talked up the months prior, and all of a sudden it's like, sorry, it's not happening.
Nothing done.
I know Perry Thomas has been loving staying at home. I tell you, I have.
Perry doesn't have any kids, does he?
I think he does.
Stop it. What is he? What is he, Satan?
I could be wrong, but I think he does, right, Perry? I think we discussed this briefly yesterday.
Perry must have great parental skills because let me tell you something. His kids must be on point if he loves staying at home.
Exactly. He's in Florida.
Oh, so, God. You get off the channel. You're going to give us COVID.
I know, seriously. You heard this. It's crazy. It's crazy over here. It's Costa Rican. Is he in New York too?
Costa Rican, I think he's in Florida, didn't he?
Oh, is he?
I think so.
Heard this, Perry. Huh. We got Voodoo Maestro. He's in Massachusetts too.
That's my boy. Voodoo's the man.
COVID numbers going up and up. It's, I feel like they keep on changing. They start to go down and they go back up. They start to go down and they go back up. It's crazy.
I can't even listen to it anymore. I don't know what's going on. Two boys, 7 and 14. Come on, that's not that's not real kids. 7 and 14. You can beat up the 14-year-old if you have to.
I feel like the 7-year-old is 7. 7 is a good age, and 14
that's like my daughter.
Yeah, and 14 is a. It depends. It depends on that age.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on. I guess if some of us will say that. Like I can say at 14, I wasn't a very good kid. So it depends on what type of kid they are, right? So
a 14-year-old boy is not bad. A 14-year-old girl with the attitude, oh my God, that's a problem.
I bet.
See, just the Ricans in Florida. Yeah.
All right. I don't know why I thought he was in New York.
You know what the problem is? Floridians just do whatever they want. I have my professor, who is the person who I learned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu from, right? My professor, he moved from New York. He opened up a school down in Florida, in Jupiter, Florida. They just do whatever they want down there, right? They didn't even close. They're still rolling. I'm like, you guys are out of your minds. I'm like, I don't know what's going on down there. And you wonder why the numbers were spiking.
Dude, I'll tell you, I love Florida. I really do.
It's nice.
What did he say? 14 is video game age. That's true. That is true. Yeah. Especially
for you, Perry. Yes, that's right. You play your video games with them.
That's true. See, I'm a big Florida fan. I shouldn't say. You know what it is? I like Disney. I'm a big Disney fan. I love going to Disney. I'm the last person anybody would ever think that I would like Disney because I hate crowds. I really do. And for some reason, that's the only place that it won't even bother me. I could just be surrounded by people and I won't get bothered. But if I'm anywhere else, I just can't stand crowds. It's the weirdest thing, I tell you.
Typical comic book weirdo.
Yeah. I'm a Phillies fan and from Philadelphia moved to Florida. So see, you're not an original from Florida. That's right. You were mentioning the Phillies. That's right. See, I can't keep track with all you guys, man. I can barely keep track of my own crap. So, but hey, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Let's kind of get to the point here. I'm going to ask you first. How did you get into comics? How did you get into collecting? What was the trigger?
Probably that I finally had money to buy the books that I wanted, right? I think that's all of us as adults.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, I tell the story all the time. I used to go to a card store on the weekends with my father. We used to go. He used to play Lotto, right, every weekend. I used to look at the comic book rack. I would pull off the rack, take the book home. I would read through it here and there. I was probably like 7, 8 years old, but I did a lot of drawing off the covers.
Awesome.
So that continued. I'd always buy comic books every weekend with him, all through to my early teens, I guess, 14, 15, 16, 17. Always was fascinated with Fantastic Four. I remember I used to go to my local comic book shop. I used to ride my bike up there, sneak up there. My mom would kill me. If she was listening, I didn't do this. I swear to God. I used to sneak off right up to the local comic book shop. I remember they used to have a Fantastic Four one behind the counter. It was like, I don't remember what it was. It had to be in the thousands maybe then, maybe $1,000, whatever it was.
Right.
I was like, man, I wish I could have that book. I loved Fantastic Four as a kid. They were so fun to read. As an adult, I'm not so much into them anymore, but as a kid, I loved it. So whatever, life took over. I was big into wrestling when I was younger. I wrestled through high school, through college. So my training took priority. I wasn't really into comics that much, but they're always part of my life. And then once I got older, right, I had money, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start dabbling into some comics. And how it happened was I teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So one of my fighters, Halabeast, Halabeast Collectibles?
Yep.
Well, he started doing an auction one day, and I was on Instagram for our Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school page, and he popped up. And I said, what the hell is he doing? So I looked on his live, and then he was doing some auction. I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch this thing. So I'm watching it, and I remember he put up the Amazing Spider-Man 252, the black suit, right? First black suit Spider-Man. I was like, oh, I really always wanted that as a kid. Never could afford it. Like, shit, I have money now. I was like, whatever. So I bid on it. Probably paid double of what I should have, but whatever.
Right.
I got it, and I was like, that was it. I was hooked. I was like, oh man, I could buy other things too. And then I was like, Fantastic Four 1. I always wanted the Fantastic Four #1. So I just started getting into collecting. When I first started off, I definitely was doing a lot of buying and selling. You'd see now I kind of fell off the selling. I've kind of went the other way, just straight collecting, not too much selling. But to get my Fantastic Four 1, I did a lot of buying and selling to fund this Fantastic Four 1. And I don't think you were around for the beginning, but I actually did a whole live stream of me going up to buy the Fantastic Four 1. There's a guy right up in Rochester.
Oh, really?
He had one. And I live streamed it. I bought my first Fantastic Four 1. And then from there, I just kept on going.
That's cool. See, I think that's a great way to do it. It's a great way to, I guess, it's like, I think you've mentioned it a few times, is, get rid of some stuff.
Yes.
You don't need 20 copies of whatever book it is.
Right.
Get rid of 19 of them, keep one, and buy yourself something that you want.
Well, that's what happened, Sal. That's exactly what happened. And telling that story, so I was buying keys up. I had tons and tons of keys. I had Fantastic Four 48, 49, first Black Panther, first Silver Surfer, Fantastic Four 1 through 5, right? I had what other good books that I had? Tons of them. There's tons and tons of these slabs. And one day I'm like, I like reading my comic books. A lot of people don't read these days. They go for the covers, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on in the collecting community, but I like to read them. So as I'm reading them, and I realized, wow, I'm not really into Fantastic Four anymore, like I was as a child. I'm like, these stories are kind of, they're just not my style.
Right.
And I was always a big Punisher guy as an adult. Once I was like, I remember like 23, 24, I actually bought the second appearance of Punisher.
Wow.
So I remember that was like just a random grab in my my adult years before I started big into it. But I was like Punisher, and I'm like, these are more my stories. Like I like Punisher, Daredevil, Batman, street level guys, right? Blade was cool. So I'm like, you know what? I have all these comics, and then COVID hit. If you remember, right when COVID hit, I'm sitting there quarantined, nothing to do. I took out all my books, all my slabs. I laid them all out, and I'm like, I don't really want this. I don't want this. I have a lot of low grade keys everywhere. I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to make a list of what books I absolutely always have wanted and really enjoyed.
Right.
So I narrowed it down to basically 8 comic books, right? I have my Hulk 181, Hulk 180, my giant-sized X-Men 1, my X-Men 1, my first appearance of Groot, X-Men 101, and my Tomb of Dracula, Tomb of Dracula 10. Those are basically my big 7 books that I wanted, and I want them high grade. So what that meant to me was, and we'll get into the whole 9.8 to 9.0 thing, but 9.0 is where I go. 9.0 is I'm not getting destroyed at the bank, and when you look at a 9.0, it's basically looking at a perfect book. There's really not too much wrong with it that we're going to really notice, that we're going to care about. It's a beautiful book. There's no reason to go spending that premium money on these high 9.4 and 9.8 for what? For someone's opinion, basically. You could spend like a Hulk 181. You're spending like 20K more from a 9.6 to a 9.8. You give me a 9.6 and 9.8 Hulk 181. You're not telling me the difference. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
So that's nonsense. So I spread them all out. I made this list and I went on a trading and selling frenzy. If you guys remember, I traded off everything. In a week, I've traded off probably, there was an exchange of $20,000 in books.
Oh, wow.
Just exchanged all over the place. From my Fantastic Four 1 through 5, I got my high grade ASM 129, right? That was the first one I took out. Then I traded my Fantastic Four #1 for my X-Men #1.
Nice.
That I really wanted. And I traded. I made these deals. I found these people. I basically searched hashtags of the book I was looking for, see who has this book, and I messaged every single person. Do you want to trade? Do you want to trade? Do you want to trade? I must have messaged everyone on Instagram. So I built the collection that I wanted, and I'm so happy that, like, you won't see me buying or in the auctions as much as I used to be, because I have basically what I want.
Right.
And then that's when I subscribed to Marvel Unlimited, because I don't want to be buying books upon books that are going to be sitting in a long box. I want to read my books, but I know it's terrible. You should always support your local comic book shop, right? But at the same time, you don't want to go broke spending money on books that you don't need to spend this money on. Because
I agree.
especially since I read a series, some books I'm like, oh, this is a great series. The next book I'm like, do I really want this in my collection?
Right.
So I love reading. Right now, I've been killing it. I've been killing it with reading. I'm reading like 3 books a day, 4 books a day. I cleaned out House of M. I did that in one sitting because it was amazing. But I love reading. As far as collecting the books, if it's a book that I really, really want, I will buy it.
Right.
If it's not, I'm just not going to waste the money. I don't think it's worth it. I'm not here trying to invest in my comic books. I have all these high grade books. If they all drop down to 0 tomorrow, it's not really going to kill me too much.
Right.
I'll be a little upset, but I'm not going to be like, oh, this is crap. Because you know what? I really wasn't selling them to begin with. It wasn't about it. That's how collecting is for me at this point.
But you've been, I mean, how many, if you had to break it down as far as how many books do you think you have right now?
I have 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14. I have like 15 slabs, right? And I have 1, 2, and I have three short boxes of books.
Okay.
That's basically
and
it. But
I
have books sitting here in front of me now. I mean, like, all these books are just sitting here that I have. These are my short boxes, and all of them are basically, it's a box of keys. They're just all high-end keys. I don't really have too much fillers, because these are actually books from when I was piling up to do auctions.
Yeah.
I stopped doing, so I still have tons and tons. Like, people message me all the time. Do you have this? I'm like, yeah, I probably do. It's just I'm not out there. Ever since I started my whole, like, my I guess you'd call it my campaign, but the things I talk about.
Yep.
I just felt that selling was almost like negative. It would be negative for me. I don't need to do this. I don't need to sell.
Right.
The things I talk about, I can't be out here trying to take advantage of people with, price gouging and things like that.
Right.
So to make myself not look bad, and for basically doing as I'm saying, right? I kind of cut out the whole auction thing. So I have keys. I do sell here and there when people ask if they want it. But what I do is I have a whole book of what I paid for each book. So if they're saying, how much is this book? I'm going right to my book, no lie. And I'm saying, I paid $55 for it. Give me $55 for it.
Right.
And that's just basically how I'm doing it now.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a great way to do it, because I feel like there's so much of that, price hiking nowadays.
It is.
And
It is.
you can sometimes. I mean, it depends. Sometimes, don't get me wrong. I've overpaid for a book because
Oh,
I
so fine.
really, because I really wanted it.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? And in my head at that time, it was more like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna get another chance. It's a book that I wanted. Do I really want a chance somebody else getting it? Do I want to go? So I've done that. But you know what? It's I think the more I collect now, the more I'm building knowledge up now, I guess you would say. The more I notice these price hikes, and I'm like, come on, where do you come up with that price?
Yeah.
And and I do my research nowadays. It's not like before where I would see something and just buy it and be like, oh, this must be the price. No, nowadays is before I accept or throw out an offer, or accept something that somebody put out there. I'm spending a good hour prior to her just doing research and being like, all right, am I overpaying, or
Yes.
is that reasonable price where what, I'm still gonna be able to give them a little bit of money because I'm
They should.
good with that, exactly.
Yes.
But I'm not gonna be like paying for 2 copies worth, which is, I feel like, and we all know some of the books that have been out recently where I feel like, come on, where I understand that book may be hot, but going from right off the print from a price of $4.99 or $3.99 to $60, come on,
I know. And I feel like, and it's crazy. I just feel like the community just doesn't get it. I don't know if they don't get it or they just choose to ignore it. If you don't buy these books, if you see a book that just came hot off the press, right, wherever it was, and these shops are paying, guess what, you're paying $50 for it. You want this book? $50. Well, we set the market. You have to understand it. If nobody bought any of these books, right? Everyone said, listen, I'm not paying $50 for this book. They're not going to sell out. No one's going to buy them. The shops are going to have to. These people are going to have to lower these prices. There's no reason that you have to pay all this money on a book that just came out and no one knows what's going to become of it.
Right.
It's crazy, and I that's why I can't do it. I would never do it. I can't do it. I just can't. I can't see myself paying all this extra money for something. But you know what? It would never change. Not that it's never going to change. You have to. You have to get that, because no one's not going to pay. They're going to pay. People are going to pay. They're going to pay. It would never stop as a community. It's not going to halt all at once. People are going to pay for it. So you know what? You kind of have to pay for it quickly as possible, maybe at a premium, because if it keeps on hiking,
right,
what are you going to do? But eventually, a lot of times, what do? They come back down to earth.
Yeah.
And then you get screwed. That's the problem. The problem with hot books, speculation, is nobody really knows what's going to become of these books, right? You could get a hit, right? You could buy this book, and next thing you know, like Miles Morales, right? Everybody who bought those books, guess what? They're all making good money now for these books. Good for them. Yep. But that does not happen all the time. So when it comes to speculation, you just have to be careful. You have to know that you're taking this risk, and you could lose your money because it's speculation. Oh, I heard that somebody is going to be in a movie, so make sure you grab these books. Okay, but does it mean anything to you? Did it mean anything to you before any of this? And people should stop for a second. People should stop and be like, why do I really want this book? Is it just because someone's telling me that it's going to be the next hot book?
Right.
If that's the case, just be careful. That's all.
Yeah.
Do what you want. It's your money. But just be careful. Try not to get yourself burnt.
I agree. What up, Two Brothers Comics? I'm just going to hit up the comments real quick, so I don't want to miss anybody. Collect your way. I agree. It's true. Armando, I collect mine and hate how fast they shoot up. I hear ya,
Lucky, that's my man Lucky. Look, these are all the boys. Gazer, that's my boy. We have a whole group chat. Now it's called Comic Book Cheers, where you go where everybody knows your name. All right. And this is, I'm gonna say it. All right, listen. And a lot of people can give me hate for this, but it is hands down the best group chat on Instagram. That's it. It is a group of people. It's we have Voodoo Mastro, Gazer, Diamond, Oak, Collectibles, Comics and CDs, King Kaju, and Crime Alley. And we have a couple mixers in there that they're like guest appearances that come in as well. But this core group that I'm in, we just talk. We talk every day. Every day we talk. We have great conversations. We're all down to earth. We don't, no ego. We just talk about comics. Would you buy? Should I buy this? What's going on? We're talking about great video games right now. It's a great group chat. Great group of people. So if you guys need to follow any of them, definitely go follow them, because they gave me a lot of help, especially like my man Voodoo. He's helped me since day one with the comic books, getting back into the hobby. So bunch of good guys. Love talking to you guys every day. So thanks for hopping on the YouTube channel and listening.
Yeah, we appreciate it. You know, it's like I say, you know, it's that's what's great about the comic book community. I mean, there's so many great people out there that are willing to help you, you know, and you know, it's really is, you know, it's a hobby for them, and it shows how much they care about, you know, kind of interacting with other people. You know, it's not just about, you know, getting something for yourself. It's about, you know, educating and connecting with the other individual, which is fantastic. It's like, it's a great example. Somebody like me who was, I always say, fairly new, you know, to collecting and to everything. And like I said, nobody believes me, and I think I've mentioned this in my YouTube videos in the past. You know, I really started. I've always had an interest in, but I really started when I started my Instagram account, which was in last year October. So it's very, very new, you know, and it's the amount of support and just different things that I've gotten from different people in the community has been fantastic, and has helped me, you know, grow my education, you know, in the hobby, which has helped me kind of enjoy it even more, you know, because when it comes to buying, I always tell everybody, when it comes to buying comics, is I'm not buying. Okay, some books I'm buying because I know they're worth something. You know, I got a Hulk 180 and a Hulk 181 because, well, those are just books that I feel like I have to have. You know, but don't get me wrong, I'm a big collector of getting books based on art. I like looking at the covers. I like looking at the art. I like knowing what artist did it, and that's how I buy a lot of my books. The book may be crap, but I like the cover, and I'm gonna buy it. You know,
you're the art aspect of collecting, which is fine, absolutely.
Yeah, you know. See, Armando's been saying that for a while. Yeah, no, I hear you.
No, yeah, Lucky's right. Armando's right. He's saying that because of the speculation and books going through the roof right off the bat, for a new collector to come into this hobby, it's like, oh, I want to try to get these new Batman. You know, I want to get the Punchline. They have no idea about Punchline. They just want to collect the series. They were on. They were in, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. And now they're like, wait a minute, how come I have to pay this much for this book? Yeah. They're getting screwed that way, which is right. It's terrible.
I agree. I mean, I don't get me wrong. Do I have all those books? Yeah, I have all those books, but I also paid cover price. I didn't.
Thank God.
You know, I meant it. I put in a request. I found out that they were coming out previously. I put a request to my shop. I said, you know what, when you guys get them in, can you put them aside for me? You know, they were fantastic about it. And I'm not paying the $50 or even more in some cases for these books, you know, which is, I don't know. That's a whole nother YouTube video. You know?
No, you're not kidding. That's like, that could be a whole series, Sal.
It could be. Sup, boys? Everyone should find their own group chat. I agree with you. You know, I think that it's great to have that. You know.
Yes.
Let me ask you this, and I know I think a lot of people will know the answers already, but just to kind of go with the whole thing, without really thinking about it much, whatever answer comes to mind first. Favorite male character, superhero character.
Favorite male character would have to be Frank Castle as the Punisher.
Which I think everybody knew that, right? There's a reason why I made the thumbnail the way I did it, because I think everybody knows that. Favorite villain?
Favorite villain, Kingpin.
Kingpin. Let's go. Okay, favorite female character?
Black Widow.
Black Widow. And same thing, same question, but villain.
Scarlet Witch before she became good.
Okay.
She was
Now,
awesome in the X-Men before she became good.
favorite book to read? Favorite book you've read, or a book that you've keep going back to read?
Okay, that's going to be Days of Future Past.
Okay.
X-Men. That series, the 2-part series. I read it all the time. Absolutely unbelievable.
You know what? I haven't read it yet, so I'm gonna have to check it out.
If you like Back to the Future and comic books, you got to do it.
I'm gonna check it out now. I'm gonna have to. Like I said, I have to catch up on so many things that I have so much reading to do. Let's see what else. All right, just because I know that you started into this whole new category of video games, which I'm slowly getting into too. Well, I say getting into two, but what I mean by that is I'm gonna get one game because that's all I can afford, and then
that's how it's gonna start. That's how it starts, Sal.
Well, it's like the Sideshow's collectible statue, right?
Yes.
I got the Hulk versus Wolverine one. It is beautiful. This thing is the nicest statue I've ever seen, and I said to myself, just one, because I don't have any room. But that's not gonna happen. So. Oh, we got, Alamo said here, favorite artist. That's a good question. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask them, guys.
Favorite artist, old school, would have to be Jack Kirby's art, which is absolutely beautiful art. Jack Kirby. I love that old style. I love his line work on his old work. I like that classic work. I don't like the modern artwork, to be honest with you. I don't like it's too digital. It's just not my style.
I love the old stuff, to be honest with you. I've always loved the old art. It has such a different feel to it. I don't know how best to describe it.
No computers.
What up, Mo? Thanks for showing up, man. There's just something about the art. I mean, if out of my personal stuff, I think most of it is just older stuff. Now, when I go to the shop nowadays, I buy a lot of, the newer books, and that's just because
the covers are like the newer books. The covers are like it's like it's like watching an old movie, right? The old movies, classics, very what's the word I'm looking for? Very live characters. Like they don't use any digital, no special effects. And then you go to the new one, all special effects blows you away. But there's something about that old school style, like the original Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
All practical characters, nothing computerized. There's just something about the feel. It feels real. It feels tangible. You can touch it. Computerized stuff, it's like, it's beautiful. It's cool to look at, but it doesn't have the same feeling.
I agree. I mean, there's a reason why you got some of these older movies that, they'll make a remake, they'll make and it just doesn't compare. It's like you can't compare the two because the original is always going to be better, just the way, and like you said, there's a authenticity behind it because they're not overplaying it with special effects and with all these extra stuff that don't get me wrong, they're cool to watch. I like watching it,
of course,
but you lose that sense of like, almost like, oh, that could happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but
yes, it's they wow you now. Before that, they couldn't wow you with all these high tech special effects. They had to put real effort into it. Same thing with drawing. They had to really wow you with their imagination and their hand drawings. Okay, it's a little different. Like I'm an art major. I was an art major in college. I just started fooling around with digital platforming, and it's different, right? I have different settings, different brushes to work with to make it look better, like more like standoutish.
Right.
The old school like hand charcoal and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool, but
awesome. I see. It's I think it's fun that during this whole quarantine and COVID-19, we're learning a lot about people, and as far as things that we didn't know that they do or they could do, or what I'm saying? I think it's funny.
Right. like my stop motion videos.
Yeah, stop motion. The drawing. It's great. It's awesome to see that people are. I don't want to say branching out, but it's branching out in a way of like and I don't want to say out of like I don't want to say out of boredom.
Your brain. My brain had nothing to do. I'm a very artistic person, very creative. I always have been. Right. This is how it was. Two things I did. I fought and artistic. So when I couldn't do my main objective, which has always been training, fighting, I had nothing to do. My brain was going crazy. So I had to outlet to other things, and my creative side took over. I was like, my daughter, she's like, oh, she downloaded an app. It was like it was a commercial of a game, and it was like a stop motion app. And she's like, oh, Dad, check this out. I'm like, oh, let me look at it. I said, oh, you know what you could do with this? This is how they made King Kong. And she's like, who? Well, we'll get into that later. So I'm like, it's stop motion. So I took like one of her Barbie dolls, we placed it together, and we made a dance. And she's like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, wait, I have a Marvel figure. Let me just see about this.
Yeah.
So I just started playing around, and next thing you know, I made a whole feature film here.
Yeah.
It took 3 hours to make like 30-second clip.
Right. Yeah.
It gave me something to do. And now that it's nice out, it's too much time. I want to be with the kids. Yeah. But at night when I put them to sleep, I just hop on the iPad with my pencil and I just I doodle, I draw, just keep my brain busy.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
But yeah.
Mo, everybody hit the thumbs up on this stream. Of course they did. Come on. All right.
Sal, what are we going to talk about video games? What are we going to say about video games?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I got distracted. Give me one quick second there. We're going to get back to that question, Alamo. I promise. So, yeah, video games. So, okay. So, favorite video game?
The Legend of Zelda.
Legend of Zelda.
My favorite series is the Legend of Zelda series. My favorite series inside of Legend of Zelda is Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past for Super Nintendo.
Okay.
So as you see, I've been posting a lot of Legend of Zelda video games. I'm trying to collect every single one that has been made in the first print. So we'll see if I can do it.
That's awesome. See, for me, it's going to be a game that everybody's going to say that's everybody's favorite game. Yeah, I know. It's Super Mario Brothers 3. I love that game.
Yeah, of course. Great game.
I remember, see, that's the thing is, out of all the games that I've ever gotten growing up, I remember getting that game. That's the one game that it sticks in my mind. I can see the box. I had the pajamas, and it's a game that I'm working on getting right now. Hopefully, a friend of mine, nerdy girl, can.
Good old Danielle. We love her.
She's in the works right now of getting me one. So
she'll get to it.
I'm just waiting.
You're gonna pay, Sal. You're gonna pay. Which reminds me. Oh crap! I gotta message Danielle after this. I messaged her a long time ago about a sealed Legend of Zelda video game. Danielle, I'm sorry if you're watching this. I'm sorry. I'll get back to it. I promise.
Where do you think I got the Hulk 181 from?
Yeah, of course. She has everything. She has everything.
She does. She really does. But all right. Favorite. So that's your favorite game. Is that okay? Is that your favorite game to own and to play?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I play Legend of Zelda all the time. I pick up the original Legend of Zelda because you could download it on the Switch. So I have it on the Switch, like the original emulators. So you can play all the old Nintendo games, Super Nintendo games. At least once every 2 months, I'll pick up the original Legend of Zelda. I could beat it. I could beat it in like 6 hours. So I'll just play it when I'm bored one day. I just beat A Link to the Past again for the umpteenth time. I'm playing Ocarina of Time right now on a 3DS. I just bought a handheld system that you could play all the old cartridges on.
Really?
And yes. So I'm gonna see what I can do with that. Just to keep myself occupied. Cool. Just like my comic books. The books I have, all the comic books I read. I have either a facsimile for that book that I've read, or I'll read it on Marvel Unlimited. I don't just buy my books just to put them out there. Like, I'm going to read them. I'm going to enjoy all the artwork. A lot of work was put into these comic books, and it's a shame for the people who just think that they're covers. The artwork is the whole book. Someone put so much effort into this, and I think it's respectful to read and enjoy the whole book. Just don't pick it up for the art. But that's my personal opinion. I have nothing against people who just do strictly for cover art. That's right. But for me, I absolutely will read them. My video games, if you see a video game that I posted, I absolutely have played it, and I've played it probably many times. Like today, I posted up the Jason video game today. that game was terrible, but I remember playing it as a kid. Like I remember playing it.
Right.
Nobody knew what the hell to do with this game, and everybody in my comment section had the same remarks as myself. It's like no one knew what to do with this game. But it's part of our childhoods, and a lot of us growing up had video games in our childhood. So that's why I think video game collecting is so big, because when you get that game in your hand, it brings you back. You're like, holy crap, I used to play this all night with my brother. I remember this. I remember getting that for Christmas. Same thing with comics, right? I remember going to the comic book store and picking up this and that. Lucky just asked me, Armano, he asked me, right? What first comic book I bought as a kid? I can't remember the exact first one. I think it was Zen, the Galactic Ninja. Are you familiar with the Sal?
I'm not, no.
Not many people are. I know one of the guys in the group chat is going to send me one. But it was Zen, Intergalactic Ninja. It's like a blue ninja guy. He was in that. I remember buying that book with my father. It's definitely one of the first ones that I did purchase. I know I had like the Superman and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure it was Zen, Intergalactic Ninja.
I'm gonna have to check all these books out.
Oh, there's a lot to check out. This is a lot
of them. Mo asks, City Limits Comics, do you train with we know
BJJ? Yes. I am the head professor of Gracie Baja New Hyde Park. I am a professor. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I've been training for 12 years. I also wrestled all through high school and college.
Nice. I hope that answered your question, Mo? And I think we already got the answer from you on this question, which was, not that the weather is nicer out, you're just spending more time, with the kids and stuff, which is fantastic. Alamo, Tempest, Defender, and Joist. I'm a big, I don't know if anybody knows, some of you guys do know, I'm a big Arcade 1-Up fan. I have 3 machines in my room. I have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles machine. I have the Pac-Man with Pac-Man Plus, and I have the machine that comes with Rampage, Gauntlet, Joust, and Defender. I would have more if I had more room. That's the truth. But I just don't have the room. But they're just such great games. I mean, I love.
Which Turtles game? Turtle Arcade.
So the Turtle Arcades and the Turtles in Time. So
both Turtles in Time is great.
Both of them. And it's probably my favorite machine for a few reasons. They did a lot of upgrades to the actual cabinet itself. And anybody not familiar with the cabinet, and I swear I don't get paid by them, but I always talk about them because I love the machines. And the machine it's just perfect. It really is. I think it weighs about 50 pounds, which is, if anybody that knows the arcades, that's way less than the original machines, which weighed about 1,500 pounds. So if you have an original machine, once you put it down, you're not moving it. Exactly. These ones, I can pick them up, move them around the room if I want. The height, it's, if you have the riser for it, it's perfect. Yeah, you're not gonna have the original height as the original machines, but you don't need the original height as the original machines. These aren't meant to be the original machines. They're meant to look very close to the original machines, but to have the advantage to do different things that you can't do with the originals, which is one of them is buying them right now. They're expensive. I mean, they're like video games. Trying to buy think about trying to buy a original Pac-Man. Okay.
Oh, no way.
It's going to be ridiculous. So the fact that I can play these at home whenever I want, and I don't as often as I want to, but the fact that I can do that, it's fantastic. It reminds me of, when I used to get out of school when I was really young, and I would go straight across the street to the arcade and play some games before I went back home. It's just great. I love it.
That's what collectors do. Collectors just want to hold on to their childhood.
Yep. Voodoo. I just picked up Double Dragon 2, 3, Friday the 13th, WrestleMania, and Batman for NES. Adam sucked me into game collecting. Anytime somebody suggests something, right, it becomes an addiction for somebody else.
And it's terrible. I know. I'm a bad influence on this group chat. They're all talking about video games now. I have people messaging me about video games. I'm like, oh man, look what I started. But the problem is, comic books and video game collecting, we have that. First of all, we have the addictive personality of collecting.
Yeah.
And if you're collecting comic books, it's basically to bring back to a better time, an easier time in your life, childhood, right? Everyone loves their childhood, no responsibilities. So when we find things that bring us back to that time, we absolutely enjoy them, and we will invest our money just to have that little piece of our childhood once again. And it's absolutely true. And I find nothing wrong with that, to be honest with you.
I agree. Yeah. I'm gonna let you read this one because I feel like it's definitely toward you.
Oh my God, he wants my Ant-Man. He wants my Paul Rudd signed Ant-Man with the mark of pick on somebody on your own size. He wants it.
Has he? Is this something that they message
ongoing,
you about?
Sal, for a year now, ongoing. He knows I can't get rid of it. He knows I can't get rid of it.
That is funny. That is funny. Well, yeah, Voodoo says those are classic. I love Turtles Arcade and Rampages, and you know what? They really are. You know, on the days that I do play them, they're so much fun to play. You know, and I find that sometimes that the older games are harder than the newer games.
Oh, yeah, right. You put one of these young kids in front of our time when we only had 3 lives to get through with no checkpoints. It blows their mind. It blows my daughter's and my son's mind. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, it's over. You guys start from the beginning again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They can't handle it. They just can't handle it.
It really is. It's true. It really is true. And it's funny how the younger kids now, they look at that and they're like, wait, what?
I saw on IG. I wish I knew this person's Instagram because it was hysterical. His son wants the new PlayStation 5, right?
Yeah.
So he tells his son, absolutely, I'm going to pre-order you this PlayStation 5, but you have to beat Ninja Gaiden on NES first.
There you go.
And he's like, I remember on the post, like, he's been staring at the screen for an hour now. He hasn't gotten past the first board. I was like, that's unbelievable. That was amazing. Absolutely. You want that? Sure. Try to beat this first.
That's a good way to save money.
Oh yeah, let me tell you, because you're not beating Ninja Gaiden. That game was freaking tough to begin with. So I don't know. We'll see.
And if for some strange reason they do, then you're screwed. You know?
Yeah, tough games. No checkpoints. Those were the days.
Yeah. Speaking of PlayStation 5 and the new Xbox coming out, where are you leaning toward? Are you leaning toward getting anything, or are you just gonna flow?
Here's the thing. Now with kids, Sal, do you have kids?
No, I have a dog. That's my kid.
So with kids, the thing is, you need to be able to take your game with you and hide from your children. I am big on Nintendo Switch because I can take it into the bathroom.
Yeah.
Through the door. When they're sleeping, I can sit in bed. I can play it. Portability. It's all about convenience now. I would love to own a system. You know, to be truthful. I just bought my daughter. She wanted an Xbox One. She wants to play Fortnite on it. Whatever. I tried to talk her into the PS4 so I can get the Final Fantasy VII remake. Yeah. She wasn't having it. I'm like, this is ridiculous. But she used her own birthday money, and she bought an Xbox One. So she's starting to get into gaming. We'll see. I want to buy the new Star Wars game on it. What is that? Yeah. Fallen Order?
Yeah.
So am I going to buy a new one? Not right away. I won't buy it. I have my Switch. I'm big into Nintendo games anyway. So they're just more simple. Grab them, go. And that's it. To sit down and try to finish a whole complex game, I don't have time for that anymore.
No, I hear you. You know, I love the Switch. You know, it's probably one of my favorite buys that I've ever made. Now, but this is the thing. Going back to my personality, you know, which is I want. that the fact is, will I get one of those systems? No, I'm gonna get both of those systems.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Good for you, Sal. You know what? Good for you, Sal.
I'm gonna wait a few months for them to get all the bugs out, and mainly, you know, the PS5. I've heard that the VR system that they're making for this one is
unbelievable,
amazing. So, you know, I'm kind of looking forward to that because PlayStation wise, the last PlayStation I've had is a PlayStation 2, and I was mentioning this to TK and Mo when they were on my live stream the other day. I have that system only for 2 games, And those two games, that's the only reason why I have the system. It's Simpsons Road Rage and Simpsons Hit and Run.
Okay.
For me, those games are just, I can play those games for hours. I'll sit
Right.
there and I just crash into things, and it's just fantastic. But there's something about, I don't know, maybe it could just be the hype. You know how it is. It could just be the hype of the systems, but I'll get them. I'll try them out. I'll do a video. If they're great, they're great. If they're not great, then guess what? It's my money.
That's
I bought
as
it.
long as it makes you happy. That's all that
Exactly.
matters.
All right, so let's talk about your keys. I know we kind of briefly mentioned some stuff, but let's give me some of your personal keys.
All right, books that will die with me.
Mm-hmm.
My Amazing Spider-Man 129, first appearance of the Punisher, right?
Yeah.
9.0. My GSX1,
Yeah.
Giants X-Men 1, and my Tales to Astonish 13, first appearance of Groot. First appearance of Groot is going to be buried with me because of what happened. I don't know if you remember, Sal, that book got lost. It was lost. It was coming back from CGC.
Really?
United States Postal Service, gone. I made phone calls. I had to put a claim in. It was a whole huge ordeal. That book was just gone. And it's funny because I was looking for that book for months. Months and months.
Jeez.
I finally found one. I cracked it out. I pressed and cleaned it. It was a 2.5. Gave it to CGC. It became a 3.0. I was like, this is great. I wanted this book for a long, long time. I got it. On the way back, gone.
Jeez.
So a lot of people who follow me know the story, like the Groot thing. They always throw some Groot comments in there. One day, I forget who was sending me a book. I was getting a book from somebody, so I did. It's right on live stream. If you go back on my live streams, I'll send it to you. Which one?
Yeah.
But I'm opening up what I thought was somebody else's book. I thought it was a book that I was getting. So I'm opening it up, and all of a sudden I open it up and like, what the? It's Groot. It's my Groot. It's been gone for 2 months, like in the wind. Nobody ever contacted me. Yeah, it just showed up one day. Just showed up on my doorstep. It was the most incredible thing. So I'll never upgrade it. It's a 3.0. Even if I had the money, I wouldn't upgrade it. It's staying. That's my book. It went through hell. It came back to me, right? It's still here. So that's probably my. Is it my favorite? It's probably my most attachment book. Like if I sold my 129, Amazing Spider-Man 129, I'll just get it back.
Right.
But
right.
If I sell my Groot, I'll never get that book back that went through all this crap and ended up still on my doorstep.
There's an experience behind it. There's a story. It's not just a I got this book. It's you know, and that's
right.
That's
like my other books, right? They're great keys, they're big keys, but you know what? I could sell one. I can sell one to you right now and go pick up another one.
Right.
And with the Groot, I can never get back that Groot that went through all that crap to be in my collection. So it's like a cool personal story. It's personal to me.
Yeah.
So that's my big key. That's the big key I really enjoy. I still take it out and look at it every day and laugh. Like this is unbelievable that it's still here after being lost.
Yeah. No, it's it's funny how, and I think that we can all relate with the fact that we all have that book or a couple of books that you'll take out and you'll just look at. And you'll be like, I just really enjoy this book. And it's and I get what you're saying is there's just certain books that you're like, there's obviously a story behind that. There's a very close reason why they're just so important to you. And no matter, like you say, you'll never upgrade it. And there's no need to upgrade. It's upgrading is for those books that it is what it is, but upgrading a book like that where you have this great story about how it got lost, and then 2 months later you're thinking you're opening something else up and it's a surprise, and you can't
recreate it.
Yeah, there's that excitement with you not knowing. I'm sure you had this excitement when you opened it up, being like, "Oh wait, this is not what I thought it was."
You gotta see my face. You have to see that. At first, what I thought it was, I thought he sent me a reprint as a joke.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was so far from thinking this is my Groot. So I saw I opened it up. I remember seeing the label. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, it's a reprint. I'm like, what the? And I was like, this is my book. So I remember that it had like a tape pull on it. I was like, this is my first. I'm like, where the hell did this thing come from? You have to see the video. It's really pretty funny.
Send it to me. So I can see it. I'm gonna let you read this one. I think it's so where we can get your thoughts on this.
Oh my God, what are your thoughts, Alamo City? What are your thoughts about online comic book auctions, selling books without stating the grade, page color, back cover, visibility, etc., and buyers shelling out cash for 7.0s hiding behind Mylar? Jesus Christ, what kind of lucky? What do I think about it? This is what I think. If you want to be a reputable auction seller on Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, you have to make sure you're as transparent as possible. Don't try to hide things to get more money. The book is what it is. You're not hiding anything. The person is going to get this book. He's going to open up. He's going to see everything you did not reveal.
Right.
And you know what's going to happen? He's going to tell everyone about the situation. And now you're going to look like a fool. So when you're doing auctions, like I used to do auctions, take it out of the Mylar, show them front, back, try to describe it as best as you can. You don't have to give it a grade. You don't have to say, listen, it's a 7.0 because we're not graders. And the way grading goes, who knows what it is.
Right.
But describe in full detail, right, what it is. Right, the spine's clean. There's a stain here. You might not be happy. There's a tick here. There's a little tear on the bottom. Just go through the book as best as you can, because the more you present what is wrong, it's actually more important probably to tell him what is wrong with the book.
Yeah.
Because then when he gets it, he's like, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong. All right, this is what it is. I know what I paid for. And that's it. Once you start trying to hide things, and then now the auction's going through the roof, you have this book, $125, whatever it is. You send it off. He's like, you didn't tell me that the whole back cover was torn. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
You're going to have to reimburse this guy if you want your credibility. You have to make an apology. It's more of a headache. Just absolutely, hands down, explain the book as best as you can. And everybody will realize, listen, this guy, if you miss something, you miss something. Right. Thinking, no, go look at his video. He's describing the whole book. He's not trying to hide anything. The more reputable you become, the more followers you get, the more money people will be willing to spend on your books. That's how I feel about that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. We've all gotten books that we've gotten off of auctions where the moment we get them in, we're like, wait, what?
Yes.
This is the same book that I was, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, and it's I get it that, you know, there's obviously, like you said, we're not graders. So the best thing that we can do if you are doing auctions is just show us the whole book, you know, because let us be our own judge of what we think, because everybody has their own grade, right? A book that's an 8.0 for me, for you it could be a 9.0, and that's the thing. We make our own decisions, and then you know what? Once we send them in to get graded, if we get disappointed, we get disappointed. But you know what? You can't. You gotta, as a seller, you gotta make it so that whatever grade it ends up being, if you get a grade, it's not on you. It's on me, because I saw the book and I said, okay, I'm gonna take a chance with that book. I see it. There's a tick right there, but I'm okay with it. You know, it's when nothing is shown, that all of a sudden it's like, oh, that book is perfect. Yeah, the book is perfect. All right, you get it. Well, the book is not perfect.
That's annoying. That's annoying, right?
It is. That's the chances you take when you're dealing with somebody that does auctions that you may not be familiar with. You know, I only do stuff with people that I'm familiar with, just because I know the way they work. I know they're gonna show me the book. I know that I've had issues in the past where I've gotten the book, and the individual that I got the book from, I'm like, you know what? I said to them, I don't want to be. It kind of has this thing right here. I didn't really see that then, you know. And I said, but don't worry about it. And they were awesome. They said, you know what? Let me send you some money back. That's
right. I've done it a ton of times. I sold Comic Talks. Everyone knows Comic Talks, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I sold him a Submariner. I think he bid up like $125. I think it went for $100. I don't know what it was. So he gets the book and he's like, listen, he messaged me. He's like, this book has it's restoration on it. There's color touch, and I found glue on the spine. I said, completely missed it. I said, I didn't see it. He's like, you have to be more careful with the books. This is early on. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. He's like, get a black light, told me what to do. I said, listen, I refunded him the whole money. Here, here's you $125, whatever, $100 back. He's like, you want the book back? Keep the book. Not a big deal.
Right.
But you know what? He's like, wow, that's really stand up. If you do things like that for people, you're gonna get customers back.
I agree.
Always try to make things right. Even if it's gonna cost you, you'll gain it in the long run. That's how I feel. That's how I feel about it.
You should. I mean, that's the thing in life, right? Always strive to do the right thing. Nothing is gonna come from trying to be greedy. It may be a temporary high, but
you get it. You get it.
Yeah, exactly. So let me ask you this: what do you have coming up in the upcoming future that you want to let everybody know about that they should be on the lookout for?
Listen, Sal, I'm gonna be honest with you. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do? If there's something that hits me that I want to talk about, I'm gonna talk about it. I plan nothing out. Any video you see of me, it's like spur of the moment. I'm like, you know what? Or I'll read something like, I'm gonna talk about this. Right. Anything, big events? Nothing. I have nothing crazy coming up. I'm going to, I'm digging deep into this video game thing. So I'm doing a lot more video games since I have basically my collection. I have my comic book collection. I do a lot of reading now, like I said, with Marvel Unlimited. So I'm still always up to date with my comic books, like what I want to read. I'm going through old stories. But as far as like videos coming up, there's really nothing on the queue right now. I'm trying to think what I want to get video. Oh, you know what? A question? I'll shoot you a question. I was gonna do a live video about this one day. So you're an auction guy, right? Where you're selling a book to somebody, right?
Yeah.
Is it after you ship it off, right? Now it's shipped off. He paid you. It's shipped. It's in the mail. United States Postal Service. It gets lost. Okay. The book is gone. Is it your responsibility now? Is it on you if no insurance was paid to cover that book? So who takes the loss? Do I take the loss or do they take the loss?
All right, so this is you know what, I've actually thought about this. I'll be honest, because I've had a few scares in the past with some of the books that I've bought, and I've thought about what would happen, and like everybody, you know how it is. Everybody's gonna have their own opinion.
Yes, of course. That's just like all my videos, Sal.
My personal opinion, what I would do. I'm gonna say what I would do, not even my opinion. What I would do, because I'm a firm believer of like do what you want somebody else to do for you. Yes. I had a book, whether I got it for $5 and I'm selling it for $400, they paid whatever the case might be, I'm gonna refund them, because I just feel bad. That's just the type of person I am. Is I would just feel bad. I would do my best to kind of reach out to UPS or USPS, try to figure it out. But if it came to the point where there's just nothing to be done, I refund them. I mean, that's just me.
Absolutely. No, you're right. I did, because I think about that too. And I'm gonna tell like new sellers and sellers, even old sellers, anyone who sells comic books. And this is how I did it. Whenever I sell somebody a book, right, they give me that money. I'm not touching that money. That money's staying in that account. And
exactly.
So they have that book. It's cleared. The transaction is complete. Then I'll use that money. But if that book doesn't make it, I know I have this money here. I'm gonna have to take that money and refund it back to them, and I will lose the book.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it happened with one of the group guys, Kirk, who I did not mention in my little thing. Kirksy Comics, right? Another great guy. Sorry, Kirk, I missed you earlier. In the group chat, I sent him the first crossover of Fantastic Four and X-Men. 23, nice. I think. Fantastic Four 23, 28. I forget the number. Great book. One of my personal favorite books, right?
Awesome.
I sell it to him. Gone. It's lost. It's completely gone. And what pissed me, it's not even the money that pissed me off. It's pissed me off this book. This is a great, great book. It's a Silver Age book. There's not that many out there. It's a Silver Age classic book. Jack Kirby, gone in the wind. So I'm like, what I do? First thing we tried back and forth with United States Postal Service. Just refund it. Yeah, take the money. If it ever shows up one day, let me know.
Yeah.
Just the way I personally think, like you do, the seller has to be responsible until it's in the buyer's hand.
Yeah.
Some people don't. I've come across people who are like, oh, well, it's not my. But I think the right thing to do would be definitely to refund that money.
I agree. There's plenty of people that think, and you know what? If this is the way you think, that's cool. Because like I said, you're allowed to think whatever you want to think. You're allowed to do whatever you want to do. But there's a lot of people that do look at it in the sense of, well, it's the Postal Service's fault. So they're responsible. And in a lot of cases, when you ship something out, you either have a $50 insurance or $100 insurance. But let's be honest, $100 insurance on that $500 book it's nothing, So I mean, it's one of those things where you in my opinion, things happen. It's not going to happen all the time. You know what I ended up doing? If I know that I'm getting a book that's really of high value to me, what I've been doing is I'll tell the seller, and I say, hey, listen, I'll pay the extra money, overnight it for me. Because that way there's extra, and let's be honest, I'm the type of person that I don't like to wait. So when
it goes with your personality style. You want Xbox, you want the Xbox, PlayStation. You don't know what wait. You're doing CGC 1 day turnaround time. You're the man.
I'm impatient. I'm very impatient. It's patience is not one of my strong suits. But no, I agree with you. I think it's definitely up to the responsibility of the seller to take responsibility for the fact that this individual, it's the way I look at it is they're looking forward to this book. They wanted this book. They wanted it enough to pay you for it. That I mean, it's horrible. I mean, I know if something ever gets lost that I want, I feel horrible. I'm like, I really wanted that,
You should. Oh, my group went missing. I almost lost my mind. It was ridiculous.
I bet.
And there's not that many Tales to Astonish 13s out there. So I was like, oh, you got.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a great cover too. I mean, I that's a cover that I really, really like. I mean, I've seen that book, and you know what? There was I had the opportunity to get that way back for a really good price,
right.
And I don't know why I didn't. I think it was on eBay. I think I waited too long, and it sold. And I was like, oh crap, And now it's like, that it's a hot. I mean, in my opinion, I think it's a hot book.
I love it. Did you ever read it? Ever read a reprint or anything?
I haven't. No.
Listen, spoiler alert, but how they take out Groot it's very, very practical.
Really?
They take out Groot. How would you take out Groot? What do you think? How do they stop Groot in this book? A big giant tree.
Fire.
That would be a good one too. They used termites.
Really? Okay, that's a cool way to do it.
Yep, termites. They took them out. Took them out with termites. Scientists came up with it. Took out the monster from Planet X. Right, Groot gone. Termites done.
You know what? That's a cool way to do it.
It was pretty cool. It was cool. It's such that old writing. It's so like pure and like almost like kiddish still. It's like a kiddish imagination. Like when you read the old Fantastic Fours, like 1 through 5. You read Fantastic Four number 5, like as a modern person, like with all this technology, you just see how pure and like kiddish the writing was. Right. Dr. Doom ties up the Invisible Girl with rope. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Dr. Doom is using rope to tie his person up.
Right.
Now it would be like some force field, like, shackled in rope. And his diabolical plan, in fact, the first appearance of Dr. Doom, his diabolical plan was to send them back in time to retrieve Captain Blackbeard's treasure, or Susan Storm was a goner. It's kiddish. That's why I was like, when I read it again, I'm like, maybe Fantastic Four is not my style.
No, I agree with you.
Classic writing.
Yeah, I agree with you. What up, TK? He says, what up, fellas? Thank you so much for showing up, TK. I appreciate it.
What's up, DK? Go back.
TKMO, always big supporter, so I do appreciate it, guys. No, I definitely agree with you. I think it's the writing is it's funny when you look back at it for some books, you know, and the way they do it, and like you said, the practical you know, aspect of it, like you said, with the rope, you know,
Yeah.
and like and you're right nowadays you write the same story, and like you said, it be this extremely complicated machine with all these types of extra crap to try to, you know, make it more
Yeah.
interesting. But no, rope, just rope, you know.
Rope, taking care of it. She's not getting out of it. A superhuman, not getting out of this rope. That's for sure.
Exactly. Well, hey guys, I know that I know that I've kept you on here for over an hour. I know that you
Hour,
know,
10 minutes, and 33 seconds.
exactly. I know time is just flying. We're having so much fun, but we are gonna call it a night, guys. I do want to thank you so much once again for showing up to my channel and chatting with me and
Absolutely.
taking the
It was a great
time.
time. Good chatting. Good chatting. Good talking about everything.
I appreciate you sharing your stories on, you know, collecting and your books and everything else, because it's really is interesting how different people get into the hobby and what makes them kind of stay in the hobby, you know.
Yes.
So I really do appreciate hearing that from you. For everybody watching, I do want to appreciate, I do want to say thank you, because you guys are fantastic for showing me support. Once again, if you guys haven't followed City Limits Comics on his Instagram page, go down there right now and follow, and because he's got some awesome content on there. So and thank you so much, guys. Once again, you guys know that I'll be doing some more videos up in the near future. I got a video coming up hopefully tomorrow on a commission that I got done, which I already posted on Instagram anyways, but I'm gonna do a video on it because I want to send a big shout out to this amazing artist, which he has done some great work for me. But once again, thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you next time. And Adam, I will see you in 1 second. Don't go anywhere.
I'm not
All
going
right,
anywhere.
guys, take it
Later.
easy.